This is a $278 3 Michelin-star Taiwanese meal, and these are $1 taro balls that I got at a night market. Today we're gonna see which one is better, but we're also visiting a $10 beef noodle soup shop, having a $25 meal at one of Taiwan's most iconic restaurants, and trying a $100 1 Michelin star meal as well. We're starting out in what most people know Taiwan for, the night markets. Taiwanese night markets can be overwhelming, and this one in particular is one of the country's most famous ones. We're at Ningxia Night Market.
This entire market is just one tiny street with stalls on both sides kind of compressing you in. It's really, really tight. Feels like you're in a night market. This is a proper one. Oh my god, this is madness.
But we were here for one thing and one thing only. These legendary taro balls.
So by far the most popular thing in this entire night market are these taro balls. We waited only around 20-25 minutes, but this line can definitely go to over an hour during peak time. So we're gonna try it out, see what the hype is all about. Oh my god, they're really hot. We have the salted egg yolk, pork floss on this one. The salted egg yolk, really nice umami with the pork floss. You don't get as much of the taro, so maybe we'll get that with the non-salted egg yolk version. Pure taro flavor, nice crunch on the outside. Oh, these are so good. I want an entire bucket of these. I regret only buying a few of them.
Okay, we couldn't just stop there because Taiwanese night markets have an insane amount of amazing food, from giant fried chicken cutlets to papaya milk. So if you want to see a deep dive on Taiwanese night market food overall, definitely check out my video on it. And for a single dollar, those taro balls were an incredible little snack. But we still have 4 more places to try, including our 3 Michelin star Taiwanese meal. So we'll see how they stack up and ultimately which is the best. $1 will surprisingly get you pretty far in Taiwan. Now we're stepping it up to the $10 mark, and we're trying probably Taiwan's most famous dish, beef noodle soup.
We are here at one of the most famous Taiwanese beef noodle soup restaurants, Shandong Noodles.
Taiwanese beef noodle soup is special because it's simple to make, but incredibly difficult to master. There really are only 4 elements: the broth, the noodles, the beef, and the toppings. And every place specializes in 1 or 2. In this case, Shandong specializes in their handmade noodles.
To put the emphasis on the noodles, they even have it in their name, noodles made by hands. Also, Taiwan has a number of noodle shops that have been featured in the Michelin Guide. This is one of them. We're excited to try it out. It's only a little bit more expensive, but hopefully it's still delicious.
You can also just go to the fridge and pick up any side dishes you want, and they'll be charged at the end. It's a pretty convenient system, but how was this beef noodle soup?
And they're nice and slippery, but they have a nice little chew to them. You want that texture. It's absolutely beautiful. Second, we're gonna try the broth. Some places give you this spicy paste. This one had a condiment section that we had to make it ourselves, so we mixed a little bit in to get a little bit of that spice as well. Oh. The spice on that is really nice. It's not that heavy of a broth, it's actually quite light. I think I probably would like a little bit more complexity in that flavor, a little more depth, but with the spice, beautiful. Like I said, there are other beef noodle shops that are known more for their broth. This one's known more for its noodles, but the broth is no joke either. And lastly, the star of the show, the beef. It falls apart so easily, really nice and tender, but also, kind of like those noodles, has a bit of chew to it. You get that nice, deep umami beef flavor from the broth. Beef is cooked perfectly with the spice, with the noodles, with the toppings. They have a little bit of those pickled mustard greens in there as well for just that little extra kick. This bowl was $6 or $7, which is an incredible steal. Overall, whew, I'm glad we got to try this place out.
The fact that we were able to get all of that for less than $10 is incredible. And soon we'll be getting to Michelin-starred Taiwanese cuisine. But first, we need to visit one of Taiwan's most famous restaurant chains.
So far, we've tried some street food from night markets here in Taiwan. We've also tried some classics from local shops around town. And now we are at probably the most famous Taiwanese restaurant anywhere in the world, Tai Fung.
Tai Fung is one of the most beloved chains in the world, and they specialize in xiaolongbao or soup dumplings. They're famous for having exactly 18 folds in all of their dumplings, and they have windows into the kitchen so you can see the people making the food. They operate like a machine. But before we get the xiaolongbao, a very underrated part of Din Tai Fung are their vegetables, specifically the spicy cucumbers and garlic string beans.
Now, I already dug into this, but the unsung heroes of this meal are the cold veggies. So you have the garlic string beans with minced pork, and you have the spicy cucumber as well. These are something that just complement everything around you. Keeps the meal pretty light because a lot of the other things that you're going to be eating are quite heavy, quite oily. If you get some of these vegetables like the cucumber, just keeps you wanting more of that heavier food as well. You really can't do it without it.
Two other fan favorites are their spicy wontons and their hot and sour soup. Now, I must admit, I'm not a big soup guy, but if this many people love it, then I have to get it.
Next up, we have spicy wontons. These are a classic in the US as well. Let's give it a shot. I mean, they're a classic for a reason. Really fresh. The shrimp and the pork inside are both really tender and beautiful. All of the little garnishes that go on top add a nice little crunch, a nice little bit of freshness. It's got this spice that kind of lingers, but it doesn't hit you in the face like a punch, you know? It's something that kind of lasts a while, and it's really nice the way that it settles on the tongue. Those are incredible. Now, this hot and sour soup is something that a lot of people have recommended that you get here, but I personally have never tried it. This is our first time trying the Din Tai Fung hot and sour soup. Whoa. It does have that nice sour note that you'd expect from a soup like this. Really nice and peppery, actually. I really love that pepper. They cut tofu into these like tiny little strands. It's actually really impressive. But you got the softness from those, you've got a little bit of crunchy from the veggies, really well balanced. This one is a winner. Honestly, this might be my favorite thing that we've tried here, better than the wontons. This is delicious.
And last but certainly not least, we finally get to the dumplings. Din Tai Fung specializes in pork xiaolongbao, so of course we got those. The way you eat it is you add a bit of vinegar and ginger, poke a hole in the dumpling to let some soup out so it doesn't burn in your mouth, and then enjoy.
We got some pork xiaolongbaos here. We made the dipping sauce kind of to the proportions that they said. We're gonna try it out. Oh my goodness. They're absolutely incredible, really flavorful. The vinegar adds a nice tang to it. The ginger adds a nice bit of zing as well. You know, I think there are definitely better xiaolongbaos in the world, but to get them consistently as good as they are here, it's tough to do. Whoa, we might need to get another order of that because that is incredible.
But the best part is that they also do a dessert dumpling which has a mochi dough with melted chocolate on the inside.
We have a dessert that I get every single time I'm at Din Tai Fung, which is their chocolate xiaolongbao. Oh my god. When you bite into it, the chocolate just oozes out. Really rich, really creamy. The mochi's got a nice little chew to it. Oh, perfect way to end this amazing meal. The grand total of everything that we got today, which is 6 different dishes, I think I've gotten kind of a similar amount in the US, and it would come out to be somewhere like, I don't know, $50, $60-ish. This one's around 30. That's impressive. It's like half the price. You gotta come here. It's a classic, you know? Consistently amazing food, of course.
So far we've been to the famous night markets for $1 taro balls, tried a local beef noodle soup shop for a $10 meal, and we just had Taiwan's most famous restaurant, Din Tai Fung, for about $25. But now it's time to level up.
Okay, now we are really ramping things up. We've tried a bunch of food on the cheaper side. Today we are trying our first Michelin-starred place. We are at Golden Formosa, which has won a Michelin star for the past like 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. They specialize in Taiwanese cuisine, and we're gonna see what slightly elevated Taiwanese cuisine looks like before we head to our final destination, which will be that 3 Michelin star Taiwanese restaurant.
We started off with this beautiful crab dish served with almost a sticky fried rice and some sauces where you mix everything together in your own bowls.
That's incredible. There's a lot of different textures in there. The rice itself, it's got a little bit more of that chew, but still really light and easy to kind of go down. You get that seafoody, that brininess, that saltiness, but then the sauce for the rice is also a little sweet. But that's the first one. I'm excited for the rest. Wow.
We then had some of their famous crispy fried spare ribs. Pretty much every table at the restaurant had this dish on it. What was surprising was that it actually wasn't that heavy considering how battered and crispy it looked.
The meat is really juicy. The fried part is nice and crunchy. I feel like the goal of a lot of restaurants is to have it fall off the bone, but I actually like that this is a little bit more chewy. Phenomenal.
After this, we got our seafood dishes. The first was a stir-fried prawn dish that was juicy, succulent, and garlicky, and the second was my favorite dish of the night, the Formosa sweet and sour fish.
That's like a flavor bomb on your tongue. It's got a nice kick to it, got some heat to it, but then the sauce is also sweet and sour. Every flavor profile hits your tongue. Fish is so beautiful and flaky and just falls apart. That might be one of the best fish dishes we've ever had.
Now, if you had to ask me what the difference was between these dishes and the ones we've had before, these are just that little bit more composed. They're using higher quality ingredients, they have a little bit more refined cooking technique, but it doesn't feel unapproachable like a lot of fine dining places do. And the price honestly is pretty reasonable. For 2 people, this costs only $100 all in, which is chump change compared to places in the US. And to finish up this meal, we actually had a little bit of a throwback to our very first dish with this deep fried sweet taro.
These taro sticks are about double the price of the ones that you can find on the night market, but it's Michelin-starred taro sticks, so we're gonna find out how it is. Oh yeah. I feel like in these ones, they use a lot more tapioca in addition to the taro, so it's a lot chewier. It's got a nice bounce, got a nice chew to it. It seems like there's a little bit of hidden salted egg yolk in here as well. I think I like these a little bit more than the ones in the night market. Are they worth double the price? That's for you to decide. And you can't come here and just get taro sticks, you have to get a bunch of other stuff too. But these are delicious, they're so good. Oh, I could eat this every day of the week. The food definitely was fantastic. A lot of flavors, a lot of interesting techniques that they used. Was it worth $100? Absolutely, for kind of a celebratory meal. Every single other table here has like 8 people around it. We're the only table of 2, so it's definitely a place you come with family, with friends, with a big party, and you share a bunch of stuff, so it probably will wind up being less than $100 per person after everything. This is really, really good.
That was a great way to end the meal, but we have finally made it. It is time for our 3 Michelin-star Taiwanese meal. It costs $278 per person, so let's see how good it can be. Tairroir is the first and only 3 Michelin-star Taiwanese restaurant in the world, and it only got its 3rd star in 2023. It combines French techniques with Taiwanese ingredients and flavors to create a cuisine that is unique in the fine dining space.
So far, we're already seeing a bunch of that Taiwanese influence. We got the oyster fritter right at the beginning, and here, this dish is really interesting because I thought it was just gonna be a scallop carpaccio, but it's paired with the fermented black bean, which is a very typical Taiwanese ingredient, and now we're gonna give it a shot. You get the freshness of the scallops, you get a hit of that citrus from those oranges. Just underneath it, a little bit of complexity, a little bit of umami from that fermented black bean. They've taken something that is typical in fine dining, a carpaccio of scallop, and then added just a little bit of a twist to make it a little more local, a little more Taiwanese.
This was followed by a cured tomato dish with caviar, dashi, and plum cream, which surprisingly worked really well together. It had a beautiful sweet salty balance, and afterwards we had another surprising dish.
This next dish, we have a really interesting combination of flavors, which I haven't really seen before. It's a lot going on. Bamboo shoots with sweet shrimp, a seaweed aioli, tofu skin, chili powder. You know, surprisingly, that all works really well together. The bamboo shoots are really delicate, provides a nice crunch. The chili powder gives it a little bit of kick, nothing too crazy. The sweet shrimp really does bring a little bit of that sweetness, a little bit of that brininess and saltiness. It seems like it'll be a ton, but actually it works really well together. And that's probably been the most surprising dish we've had so far. I really like that one. That's delicious.
And even at a 3 Michelin-star restaurant, we still wound up coming back to our favorite ingredient.
We have gone from $1 to Michelin star to now 3 Michelin star dining. And it doesn't matter what price point we're at, we're always going to find taro on the menu. We have a taro puree served with this runny egg yolk and this beautiful egg with a little bit of smoked duck, a little bit of tiny crispy shrimp. Way more delicate than the other two. Obviously, it's not a fried ball or a fried stick like at the other places, but you still get that beautiful sweetness from taro. You get a nice creaminess from that egg. The smoked duck pairs really nicely with that crunchy tiny shrimp. Beautiful dish. This is my favorite so far.
I will say that it's evident that this is a Taiwanese fine dining restaurant, but I do wish it leaned more heavily into Taiwanese cuisine because some dishes really felt almost European. But that was not the case with this next dish. It was time for the star of the show, which was this glorious pingtang duck that was presented to the table, then prepared in 3 different ways. First, with local purple asparagus, goji berries, and ginger for a tangy, sweet, and gamey preparation. Second, as a blood cake, which feels very Taiwanese. It's irony, sticky, and chewy. And lastly, as a beautiful warming broth to finish. We finished with a couple desserts. One that used one of my favorite ingredients, grass jelly, with a passion fruit sorbet, and another that combined chocolate with the unexpected ingredient of burdock. It was a beautiful meal with fantastic flavors, and what Tairroir did well was take those Taiwanese ingredients and present them in new ways that I had never seen before. So now we've tried everything from $1 taro balls in the night market all the way up to 3 Michelin-starred Taiwanese cuisine, but we came to answer one question and one question only. Who is the winner?
So we've tried everything from $1 Taiwanese food all the way up to 3 Michelin-star, $278 Taiwanese food. And every single one, not gonna lie, has been fantastic. We have to answer the question, which one is the most worth it? Which one is the one that I enjoy the most and I feel like is the best value for money? Well, there's a reason behind me is a night market. It's because Taiwanese culture is so centered around night markets. Everything is delicious, but you just can't beat the prices at night markets. These chefs have been working on perfecting their craft of a singular item on a menu most times for years and years and years. And it's just such a Taiwanese experience. There's nothing else like it in the world. It's absolutely incredible. And for this round, the $1 Taiwanese food at the night markets wins. I'm gonna go enjoy some more food because it's amazing. But if you wanna see some of the best food from around the world, definitely make sure you subscribe below. But for now, I'll see you later.